As I'm sure you probably know, the NFL has for a long time been built on parity. Anybody gets a chance, anybody can make the AFC Championship game. However, this has not been the case. It has actually been a very long time since there's been parity in the AFC, and it is a little shocking. In fact, to go back to the last AFC Championship game without the New England Patriots or the Kansas City Chiefs, we had to go all the way back to the 2010 NFL season. And in case you can't imagine it, this was back when Big Ben was on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mark Sanchez was on the New York Jets. So that means it has been 14 straight seasons of dominance by the Chiefs and the Patriots. However, I think this may change this year. Before I get into it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel for more NFL content, but here we go. I guess I'll start off with why the Patriots aren't going to make it, because to truly have parity, we need two brand new teams. Well, the Patriots, this is not going to be a tough one. Yes, Drake May is promising, but no, there is just no chance this team can improve so much from one of the worst teams in the NFL to a top 4 team. So, I guess that's it. But now, the Chiefs, what you actually came to this video for. Will the Chiefs keep it up? Can they make the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, once again, or will they crumble? First, let's start off with how they were last year. They actually went 15-2 in the regular season. However, they rested the final game, so they really went 15-1, almost an undefeated season, and this will be an underrated Chiefs team due to the fact that they got blown out in the Super Bowl by the Eagles. But how did they do it? Well, it was with a very good defense and an average but a little bit clutch offense. So they had the 4th ranked defense as far as holding teams to points. So the 4th least amount of points given up. They had the 15th best offense. What this led to was a lot of close games. But due to the fact that they had Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in NFL history, and Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, add on Travis Kelce, who can be good in spurts even in his older age, well, they were extremely clutch, and they actually went 10-0 in one-score games, and this included several miracle games, such as a win over the Broncos that I just don't know how it happened. So, yes, they were 15-1, however, this involved a handful of miracles, witchcraft, and a bunch of close games where they just happened to win the coin toss that is a close football game. Can they keep this up? Sort of. They sort of can. I mean, it's still Patrick Mahomes, so they can still win a lot of these games. However, the odds that they go undefeated in one-score games is extremely low. I think next year, maybe they'll win 2/3 of their one-score games. Maybe they'll win 3/4. But even if they do that, that adds on several losses throughout the year. But back to last year. So what actually happened in the playoffs? So of course it started off and they had the number 1 overall seed, gives them the bye week. This is a huge head start to getting into the AFC Championship game. Then of course they play the Texans, who aren't that great, and they beat them pretty handily. Then of course they've made it. Then of course they had a tight game with the Bills and they got blown out by the Eagles. So what happened in the offseason? Not really all that much as far as the team is concerned. They did trade away one of their better linemen, even though he was old, Joe Thuney. They traded him to the Bears. They just didn't really want to deal with his contract because he's expensive and old. But historically, he's one of their better players. So this does leave some holes on the offensive line that Patrick Mahomes will have to deal with. They did draft a first-line offensive lineman and picked up some guys in free agency to help fill the gaps. However, this is not a proven offensive line like the Eagles or the Lions or something like that. This is a maybe it will be okay offensive line. So that is definitely an area for concern, because as we saw in the Super Bowl, Mahomes can be affected by a pass rush as they got blown out by the Eagles, largely due to the Eagles' pass rush. To me, the 2 real losses they had in free agency were Justin Reed, the safety, who went to the Saints, so that will hurt. He was one of the better players on the defense, and then Turk Warden. So this is someone a lot of random non-Chiefs fans probably don't know about, but he was a very good defensive tackle on the Chiefs. He is now with the Panthers. So they did lose a few key pieces of their defense, and other people will have to make up for this. But honestly, losing these three guys is not the reason why I think the Chiefs will not make the AFC Championship game. There's more to it. The first thing is their division has improved by so much. The Chargers and the Broncos both have potential to be playoff teams, and they both could feasibly win the division. Even if you look at Vegas odds, of course the Raiders are out of it because, well, they're terrible, but the Chiefs are the favorites at -110. The Chargers are +280, the Broncos are +330. Those are very close for a second and third place team in the division. That means Vegas thinks that there's a good chance the Chiefs could finally loose their streak of AFC West wins. If they do lose this, well, I think they would still make the playoffs. That means they don't have any home games, and without a home game, it is so much harder. To add on to this, if you lose your division, that means you're not the 1 seed. Even more important, for a large portion of the Patriots and the Chiefs' time as AFC Championship teams, they have started off with the #1 overall seed, meaning they get a bye, especially the past 5 or so years where they're the only team that gets a bye, an even bigger advantage. So they only have to win 1 game to make it to the Final Four, to make it to the AFC Championship game. If they had to win 2 games, or even worse, 2 games on the road against better teams, not like the Texans, but let's say you had to play the Bengals and the Bills or something like that, it will be a tougher experience, even more so on the road. So to group that together, I do not think the Chiefs are going to make it to the AFC Championship game. I think this streak of 15 years will finally come to an end due to some losses on their offensive and defensive line, but more importantly, improved competition in the division, which will make it harder for them to stack wins, get the 1 seed, and finally, there's just no way they can get this lucky for this many years in a row. No matter how much skill it takes to win these one-score games, it is still luck at times. So what do you think? Do you think the Chiefs will put it together again, become AFC Championship teams, win another Super Bowl? It's just the usual, or do you think this league will finally return to some parity like we are used to, or we think we are used to? Anyways, like, subscribe, leave a comment on your thoughts down below, and I'll see you later.